DNA banking and the Human Genome Project. So what is DNA banking? DNA banking is the secure long-term storage of an individual's genetic material. DNA banks allow for the conservation of genetic material and a comparative analysis of that information. The Human Genome Project was an international research project from 1990 to 2003 that held the goal of determining the base pairs that make up human DNA. Some of the advantages. It provides evidence. So a DNA database allows investigators to match collected samples of DNA against previous records, and this is especially helpful in cases without eyewitnesses present, and could also possibly lower crime rates because it would be much easier to identify previous and serial offenders. It facilitates information sharing between countries. So the sharing of data is becoming easier than ever. So international law enforcement agencies will be able to share more information with each other to pursue suspects. The information can be used for genetic studies, and banking provides families with the chance to pursue genetic testing. It makes it that much easier to find matches for any type of donation and helps determine if there are any hereditary diseases present. Some of the disadvantages. So information can be stored infinitely. So if the database is public and national, the information could potentially be exposed to individuals who want to use that with a malicious intent. Information can also be hacked, so a DNA database doesn't necessarily need to be public to be vulnerable to theft of the data it contains. It's also not 100% accurate, so there's a 0.1% chance that the information collected is not true, and it has been shown that DNA testing kits also produce different results, and there's always the susceptibility to human error. There's also discrimination because samples are stored and compared against DNA collected at crime scenes, so police may be more likely to pursue crimes committed by members of overrepresented groups. So, the ethicality of DNA banking. Extending the DNA database will also increase the potential threat of our privacy. DNA samples contain information that can reveal a person's ethnicity or how susceptible they are to a disease, therefore increasing potential data abuse. A main factor in determining the ethicality of DNA banking is how the database is put to use and how that is decided. DNA records are also linked to other computer records, such as records of arrest, which can be used to refuse someone a visa or a job, and in turn opens up the potential to further discrimination. So what do I think? I think that most technological advances, like most technological advances, DNA banking could be beneficial to our society, but it should in no way be necessary. I think that in order for DNA banking to have any sort of positive effect, it would have to be voluntary, because the information that could be derived from one's DNA could be harmful, and it essentially survives infinitely. And so I think that people should have the choice, because that information will just be out in the world and could possibly be hacked, and there's no way to determine how much privacy we really have.